The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric Jake Chucky, joined, as always, by my good enemy, better friend, the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and we're back to talking about classic WWE/F pay-per-views, this time in your house, good friends, better enemies.
Yep. In the second of a series that at a current rate will only take us till the year 2023 to complete.
I say we've been watching them actually about as frequently as regular pay-per-views are supposed to happen. I know it seems so slow, because we're used to them coming every fucking week.
Every fortnight at least. Sometimes they give us 3 weeks in between.
Yes, well.
Anyway, I have been pitching this wrong to the people I know who listen to the podcast. I have been saying this is going to be In Your House, Beware of Dog. I was missing one. That's the next one. For that, I apologize. But this one was a fun-ass show.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have a lot of info on Deleted. This was in a time where I wasn't watching wrestling, and you were too sproggy at the moment, I believe.
I would have been 7. Yeah, we did some very long, drawn-out math about that.
Some of us did, anyway.
I would have been 7. I don't think I was still Power Rangers at that time. So, yeah. I don't think I quite hopped in. This was maybe around the time that I first saw wrestling, but that was WCW, so...
We're getting up to my return to wrestling. Soon there will be sweet memories of Raws I watched and pay-per-views I never saw. But tonight we are talking about In Your House 7. There were a lot of dark matches. They weren't on the show. But for the historians out there, Savio Vega beat Stone Cold, Triple H beat Mark Marrow, and The Undertaker beat Mankind.
Ta-da! Then there was the match on... Free for All, which we did not watch because whether it's classic or not, we don't watch the fucking pre-show.
Where Mark Marrow wrestled again and beat the 1-2-3 Kid by disqualification.
Yep.
What we opened up on was Owen Hart and the British Bulldog.
The good old British Bulldog.
It's like the running of the bulls, but not quite as intense.
The bulls are all tired. It happens right after the first one.
Yeah.
It's how they get them back into their bed.
They wrestled against Jake Roberts and Ahmed Johnson.
They wrestled against Jake Roberts and an inevitable injury-filled career.
Look, I've always had kind of a thing for guys who wrestle sloppy. It just looks so painful, because it is.
Yes, that's how that works.
So when I was young, I really liked Ahmed Johnson.
I can see why. He wrestles like Billy Gunn.
Ouch, my feelings. He's also got a great, visual to him. Yeah, not only a look, but, his
He had a very unique look in that I've never seen anyone else wear thigh pads.
Gotta protect them thighs.
I have not seen it since. He looks like a Liefeld drawing.
He also did some work in the corner, which I thought was pretty fun, where he would, kick them and then spin his sweaty body against the rope and then kick them again. It was good times.
For no discernible reason.
Yeah, it's not like he built up momentum because he kind of paused between the kicks and the spins. Whatever, it looked fun.
The match was in and of itself a good... I can't think of a bad match on this.
Yeah, even the one we were the least into was still...
I mean, it was a good match. I
Yeah,
just didn't
decent.
give a fuck.
Sure, yeah.
And that wasn't this one. This was a good way to start off the show, I think. Owen Hart was pretty he was a heel, but he was an okay heel. British Bulldog was proper cowardly. It was
good stuff. Good work all around, really.
Mm-hmm. Then we had, I don't know if you'd call this a match per se. We had interaction.
It was, an interaction.
What?
So,
okay.
Guys, we're not as up on the wrestling trivia as other authorities of the sport that you might find on YouTube.
I am actually fairly up on the wrestling trivia from when I watched wrestling, but this was before that.
Yeah, and I think that's a good way to put it, from when we watched wrestling to even now.
And it wasn't like back in the 80s where I went back eventually and caught up on some shit from the 80s, but like this was in that mid-range, the new generation era, which I never really grabbed onto it until now. So
the match advertised was Goldust versus the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental Championship. Was it a match?
There was a bell rung. There were several bells rung, in fact.
Yes.
A count-out was had eventually when the ref decided that it was time.
The ref was just tired.
And I don't think... a man was injured, but I don't know if that qualifies.
Guys...
Also, if they were in the middle of an active match, shouldn't... I genuinely think Ultimate Warrior should have been disqualified for trying to burn a man with a cigar.
You know, I don't...
You know why I think he wasn't? Because I think the ref was really tired of Goldust shit at that point.
I don't blame him. Guys, if you haven't seen... I knew nothing about this show. Absolute zero. If you haven't seen these old pay-per-views, do yourself a favor and watch them. At least, like, put them on in the background while you're doing something else. Because, like, there was this whole thing where Ultimate Warrior, or Goldust did his thing, he disrobed, he came out first, Warrior comes out, Goldust's like, you know what, never mind, I don't want to fight him. He scares me. And, Warrior takes his sweet time picking up Marlena's cigar and smoking it for a while.
From the ground. I need you to understand that.
Yes, this was a floor cigar. At this point, Goldust and Marlena and their bodyguard left. They left.
They were up at the top of the ramp getting ready to leave. And then he got Goldust's chair and Goldust's wig and Goldust's coat and draped the wig and the coat on the chair and then sat down in it and smoked the cigar as a way of taunting Goldust.
So Goldust comes back down and Marlena, he like sends her out as a probe. And she takes the cigar back and then smokes on it for a while and shrugs like, seems safe.
Which, I mean, I don't know that putting something in your mouth that's been in the Ultimate Warrior's mouth is a good idea. Unless you're looking to get super jacked, because I think his blood counts as anabolic steroids at this point. Well, I guess it would be his ashes now. But
wow. Like, dark, but like great superhero / villain origin story.
You just fucking got...
You gain ultimate power by the ashes of the Ultimate Warrior. Whoever made the Warrior comic, get on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They, like... Eventually, Goldust is somehow convinced that the Warrior is not just going to whip his ass at some point.
Yeah, like, Warrior picks up his coat and he's like, come put your coat on, friend. And Goldust is like, I don't want to.
That doesn't seem safe. And he's like, no, we are fellow coat travelers. We are both men who wear face paint and travel the terrain of Testament. It is safe, friend.
So, Goldust puts the little coat on and sits in the little chair and smokes the cigar. And there's like this weird interaction for a while.
Where like he takes off his glove and Marlena kisses the glove. Or kisses the hand, and then he's like, "Yes, now I will give my weird fey hand to the Ultimate Warrior again, whose name is the Ultimate Warrior, and who is the most '90s thing that exists, in all respects. I need that made real clear. And I will flap my hand at him, and he will kiss my hand, and then I guess we'll just all fuck in the middle of the ring. That was clearly the vibe that everyone was giving out.
This was the 90s, but it felt like a very 70s match, I will tell you.
And then, like, no, because Warrior still had the cigar. As Goldust was getting comfy, Warrior was just quietly puffing on the cigar, just passing the day away.
Like, this, we're describing this way faster than this happened.
Yeah, this took 7 minutes. The match, the bell had been rung. Just so we're clear, the match was going on, technically.
This was a wrestling. Warrior finally gets tired of it, puts the cigar out on Goldust's hand, clotheslines the shit out of him. Goldust runs screaming for the hills.
And then the ref finally goes... And this is after, like, a solid 5 minutes of refusing to count Goldust out on the grounds that I don't wanna.
Well, I dig it, because there was a lot of times on pay-per-views, and they do this still sometimes today, but... it's, the referees are blind, so no, not as much, because the referees are too scared to count. The referees would be like, no, this is a pay-per-view match. It's for a title. Come on, give the people what they want. They paid their ticket price.
Yeah, I like a little partisanship on the part of the in favor of the fans on the part of the ref.
Yeah,
I don't dislike it. It's just it's that he then decided to count him out later in the match.
By that point, it seemed like it was done. It was like, you know what? You guys have fucked around enough. I'm tired of this. We've got a show to do. This has already been 7.5 minutes. Fine.
Fuck you. How about that?
So then their bodyguard, who I guess was Mantar.
It was literally just Brodus Clay.
He was a Time Lord.
There were many Time Lords.
There were many.
Shout out to King Ross and the Ardians. King Ross is a Time Lord. I like your new regeneration much better. You've taken a step up.
Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior beats the crap out of him, and then puts on the Goldust wig and the bodyguard's fedora, and celebrates by jacking off invisible dicks.
Which was apparently just his go-to celebrity move. Like, you know how Hogan does the poses, and, everyone else does various different poses, and, Roman
does big arms.
Roman does big arms, or jacks off his own hand a little.
Yeah.
Fucking...
Air dicks.
Ultimate Warrior is just constantly practicing for his 9-man Bukake video after the show.
And, the fans knew it. They knew the air dick move.
Alright, quick side note. My mom listens to this.
Hello, the boy's mom.
Don't Google that. Move on.
She's a classy lady. She can Google what she wants.
Shut up. Move on. It came out of my mouth and then my brain went, hey, dude.
I had an ironically similar experience, and then later so did you with my mom. So you know what? You Google whatever you want. Moving on. We had Razor Ramon against Vader. Neither of us give a shit about Vader.
Nope. I like his... I like him on principle because he does a body attack. He does the Vader attack, and I have used that to great effect in many video games. But that's really, genuinely the only reason I've ever given a fuck about Vader. So...
I like Razor Ramon, and
so do I.
The fucking face journey that Scott went through in this match was so palpable that we're lame. So sometimes when we're watching the show, we'll impersonate the people we're watching and, give them dialogue.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't do live reaction videos.
Yeah, I'd probably be pretty funny, but it's mostly an audio issue.
Audio and editing.
Yeah.
Because I also make some jokes which don't fly on the podcast.
Let's call them ribald. I was fucking doing Scott Hall commentary through the whole match. It was just every time I'd say something, he'd do exactly what I was talking about. It was beautiful. He didn't give a shit about what was going on.
I think I've probably mentioned this at some point in the podcast career. We're doing it for fucking years. If I have, I don't care.
Go back and watch a bunch of podcasts just to check.
Yeah, and then if I have, call me an idiot in the comments.
Yeah, and like and subscribe.
Yeah, and those also. I always forget how big Scott Hall is. Because he spent most of his time in WCW, and again, that's where I mostly saw him, if I saw him at all, until the mid-2000s. He spent most of his time next to fucking Big Daddy Cool Diesel, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, Big Daddy Cool Diesel. So he looks tiny. Because fucking Kevin Nash is a huge motherfucker. No, he's 6'7"?
That's what he was billed as. They tend to flex those numbers a bit.
So
I'd say
6'4"?
at least 6'4", 6'5". Yeah. At least.
$125 minimum.
Definitely.
Or rather, $225.
$225 at least, yeah. Well, if I hadn't closed the tab, we could find out. Hold on. Listen to us Google things.
280 is what he was billed as.
I believe it. Dude had good physique.
Dude was huge. I always forget how huge he was, but he was not dwarfed by Vader, and Vader is not a small dude.
No, he's a lot of person.
He is the Mantar. Mastodon. He was the Black Ranger. Zord.
I could just see him. What was his name on the show? What was the character's name?
Second one, Rocky. First one, I don't remember.
Zach, maybe?
Yeah, Zach.
I could just see him climbing up on fucking Vader's shoulders like, let's kick some ass.
And then Vader just takes down the full-sized, building-sized monster with one Vader attack to the ankle.
Jim Cornette was out there, and that wasn't very good, but I tolerated it.
Dude's good at his craft. He's also a chode, but he's good at his craft.
Both of those things. No, I mean, like, I make fun because I don't like him, but he cut a pretty good promo, and was being very annoying throughout the match, which is what you do.
Trying to get that heat, son.
But they were building, like, this was a nothing match between his injuring Yokozuna, and then at the next show...
Yokozuna's revenge.
Yeah, they've got a match to finish it all.
And I know nothing about what happens in that match, but I'm going to guess Yokozuna gets his revenge.
I don't... yeah, you know, because I think Vader might have gone elsewhere at that point.
Yeah.
Vader's always been kind of a hot potato.
He's been a potato, certainly.
Hey, people really liked Vader back in the day. I don't know why. I've never understood that. I don't hate him or anything. I liked it when
honestly,
he was on Boy Meets World.
I think this is one of those times in my life when I just had never noticed a thing, and then noticing it kind of ruined a thing for me. Vader's mask is retarded looking.
It smushes his little nosy. Even Vince commented on it.
It's badly designed. It's badly designed. I get it. It gives him a very odd, like crushed in face sort of aesthetic, so he looks super monstrous and ugly, but also it makes it hard to breathe, and it probably over years, I guarantee his nose is flat as a pancake right now if he takes the mask off, because he wore that thing a lot over a lot of years. So I mean, it's made him actively uglier, and no offense to Vader, but he probably wasn't starting very high on that list to begin with.
His mask was shitty in that it slid off his face constantly.
Yeah, it slid off his face. It was badly designed. It didn't fit right, and it had no space for an actual face to go. He was just wearing leather crotchless underpants on his head.
I really wanted to go for a joke there about Scott Hall involving crotchless underpants and his intuitions there, but I can't put it together. Why don't you do that, listener, and write it in the comments? I didn't hate this match.
It just happened.
I wish it had been with another guy besides Vader.
It happened near us.
But anyway, post-match, Jim Cornette gets on the mic and starts talking, and Vader is so upset that he has to fight Yokozuna that he just starts fighting stuff.
And then, for a while, he stares into your soul.
Like, he caught eyes with me from 20 years ago, and it wasn't comfortable. And
his mask was sweating.
It was. There was sweat coming out of the front of the mask where there was not a face.
The leather bits. His mask was sweating.
At one point, he attacks Jim Cornette, and Jim's just like, "That's fine. This is fine."
Oh, I see that cartoon, but the dog has a little tennis racket, and it's planning on pissing on Vince McMahon's grave.
Oh, it isn't. Next match is the Body Donnas against the Godwins.
This was a solid tag team match.
I really dug this. Dude, actually, I meant to look this up during the show, but I didn't have my phone. What did Henry O. Godwin do later? Fucking imagine. Nothing.
Yeah, he, went to the Godwins in Southern Justice. And he was that until 1999. And then he's
just kind of been farting around.
Yeah.
He's one of the people who's suing the WWE about the brain injuries that
the WWE probably, didn't hit them with the chairs, but... Look, alright, some of those are bullshit. Sabu is bullshit. I'm sorry, what happened to you did not happen in the WWE.
I wrestled a whole match on your program, and look at me now.
No, I'm sorry, dude. No. It didn't even really happen in ECW, because WWE owns the rights to that, so technically they own their responsibilities as well. What happened to Sabu happened elsewhere. But, fucking Axe and Smash...
Well, here's the way I think about it, and this is the way I view the sport in general. The boys are going to go out there and do what the boys are going to go out there and do. I would be stunned not surprised by Vince saying stuff like this, but stunned that they'd be getting pushback. If it was like, I need you guys to go out there and wrestle a real dangerous match. No, Vince, we might hurt ourselves. We got to worry about our health. Man, that was not how wrestling was in the 80s, in the 90s, in the early aughts.
Now they worry about their talent's health very strongly. So much so that, like, for instance, Shinsuke Nakamura doesn't kick as hard in the WWE. I don't know if he's been told to or if it's just intuition.
Oh, yeah, no, it's 100%.
But, like, because they don't want him to fucking kill somebody. They don't want him to give some dude a really severe concussion that puts him out for 6 months and waste hundreds of thousands of their dollars. It's not like Vince became a nicer person. It's just concussions and shit started affecting his bottom line more. That's all.
Yeah, and so for a bunch of guys to come up and be like, hey, we have concussions because we wrestled for you. Yeah, dude, you would have had that wherever you were wrestling. Would you be suing them too? Probably not, because they're all dead.
And are broke.
Yeah.
And besides which, you didn't think that was healthy.
Yeah.
You didn't think that taking a chair to the Dome every weekend for an entire European tour all week, every night, and then getting super hammered and waking up and getting hammered again, and then doing some steroids and going to the gym and then taking another chair to the Dome was a healthy way to live your life. That was not a thing that you thought.
Let's not even get into the crack parties and the coke parties and the swinging parties. And
I was talking about the conservative members of this
yeah,
life.
Clearly.
Oh, I knocked over a thing, sorry.
I think if there's actual neglect, you have absolutely every right to pursue justice. But I think y'all know what you're getting into here. And the time was different back then. You probably should have pushed it then if it was an issue, if you were forgetting where you were driving home. I remember all the documentaries about Mick Foley when he went, oh shit, I gotta stop this.
I don't know where I am. Right now. Did I use the thumbtacks?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, but
and I love Mick. His brain is mush at this point. Poor guy, but he knew.
He knew.
He went into that shit with eyes wide open, and so did you. Fuckers. Anyway.
But the guy was a great wrestler. He just smooth as butter, and later on, when we got Phineas as Midian, I liked him as well, and I liked him in this match as well. I liked the little moment he had with Sunny when she gave him the photo and he was smitten. But man, I've just never. I dimly remember the Godwins because I remember the slopping from when I was younger. I was probably earlier in their careers, or if they were still around when I started watching again. But I think that was full Attitude Era by that point, so I don't believe so.
Yeah, but you mentioned that you used to hate the slop.
Yeah, because it looked so gross. It just, yeah. But I remember watching them, but I had no idea what was good and what was bad back then. And oh my God, was Henry good.
Henry O'Godwin was legitimately really good.
And they're in there with the Body Donnas, which I'd heard the name the Body Donnas tossed around a lot, and I never knew who they actually were, other than Skip and Zip.
Chris Candido and Tom
Pritchard. Yep. Two amazing athletes, two incredible talents in the ring. And, everybody was putting everybody over in this match. It was good stuff all around.
7-minute match. Got as much time as the fucking clown shoes bullshit with Ultimate Warrior and Goldust. Also, people who bitch about clown shoes wrestling, this shit isn't new. Stop it.
It's never been. Well, here's the thing, though. And I can take a moment. I'll try to be brief about this instead of the lawsuit.
Yeah, because we really buried those concussion dudes real hard. Yeah. That wasn't necessary.
Hey, I might try to sue the WWE to get a couple $1,000 too, book.
Yeah, end of the day, get your paper, boo boo. I can't hate that much.
The problem with clown shoes wrestling now is that nobody gives a shit, and it's poorly written.
But then sometimes you have Day One is H.
Day One is H is great. That's good writing. It's still ridiculous, but it's good writing. The whole outfits that Tyler Breeze was wearing in that one match.
Because the crowd was into it.
Well, above and beyond the crowd being into it, it was actually done well.
I mean, if it was done well and the crowd was shitting on it, it wouldn't have mattered.
Well, no. You have a point there, but that's kind of chicken and egg.
Fair.
the House of Horrors match actually came up in my brain when I was watching the Ultimate Warrior and Goldust thing, because it's like, what is going on here? I don't understand, but it's interesting. Not, what is going on here? I don't understand why you did this. Ghost Tractor was the only good part of House of Horrors match.
Ghost Tractor, come back and save us from the rest of the match.
God, I miss you, Ghost Tractor.
Oh,
anyway.
remember when he won the match, so he turned the lights a different color?
Yeah.
That's so...
With his magic light-changing powers.
Just Rowan off screen with a little remote to the light changing thing. When I do the thing where I wave my arms, then you just change the light, and that means I win.
We want it to be green for good, because I won. Bright went red. Is that okay?
We'll work around it.
Shh, stop yelling. They can't edit that out. This is live, brother. This is live. Oh, God.
Just go find the Ghost Tractor. It wandered off earlier.
Put it back in its pen. Randy Orton does not know how to handle a Ghost Tractor. I'm going to get in this sweet car. Should have been driven by Randy Orton.
Oh my God! So it should have been driven by Randy Orton. He should have said, "Take me to the arena," and then the windows rolled down. It's Randy Orton in a cap,
crazy person grinning, wide eyes.
Oh, I'll take you to the arena,
because it would have made exactly as much sense as Randy Orton for some reason having teleported back to the arena.
But it would have been way funnier.
Yeah. Or if we had seen Randy Orton ride in on Ghost Tractor.
Yeah.
You just need a good payoff. God damn.
Anyway, speaking of a good payoff, let's talk about the main event.
Let's talk about this main event. Man, Diesel farted his way through the last pay-per-view match we watched. It was still an okay match, but he was
I believe I described it as a snoozer.
Yeah.
And
this was anything but. This was solid 18 minutes of action. Now, guys, if you know me, if I've talked about this before, we've never really done a top 10 wrestlers list because that's hard to quantify. But I do know my top tied for first because the WWE sent me an email survey and I take those very seriously for some reason, so I deliberated on it for around an hour. And Shawn Michaels is up there. So me saying anything bad about this guy in the ring, outside of it, but in the ring, good God, phenomenal. And Kevin Nash matched what he was doing. And luckily Vince learned to sometimes only call him Diesel or Big Daddy Cool.
But sometimes
Vince was at a loss for words, so he just said, Big Daddy, Big Daddy, Big Daddy. He's going around the other side of the ring. Big Daddy Cool Diesel. And that was the end of his sentence.
Like he just fucking got stuck on a repeat?
He's just, well, I mean, the spot that was before that, I can understand why Vince was like, they were so fucking into it, man. This is what we were talking about. Commitment. Like watching Jerry Lawler. Okay, so if you guys don't remember, if you haven't seen this, go back, watch it. It was really cool.
If you already pay for the network, it won't cost you a dime.
Hell yeah. There's a point where Diesel's pretending he's going to do a powerbomb on the mats outside, and then he turns and throws Michaels through the table.
And look, Vince McMahon deserves commendation for how well he called that spot. I don't know if it was pre-planned. I mean, it had to have been because the table was gimmicked.
Yeah, the table was gimmicked. It was not a fun table to go through. Oh my God, it was one of those thick motherfuckers.
But it was clearly gimmicked.
Yeah.
So he deserves commendation for how well he made the call, because he said right as Kevin was about to do the jackknife powerbomb, he said, no, not the floor, with the exact amount of time necessary for you to think, no, not the floor. And then he plowed him right through the table. It was perfectly timed. It was perfect lyrics to the music the wrestlers were making. JR would have been proud.
And like the way Michaels went through, the little TVs fell on him, and then Vince in shock is like gently pulling the monitors off of Shawn.
Like trying to pull him out of the rubble of this explosion.
What do I do? But the both of them are standing there. We come back to him later after the headsets. Well, there weren't any headsets on. They were broken. They had stick mics. And both of them are just standing there. Not having set their chairs back up or getting new chairs or whatever. Standing there, shouting with full passion into these mics about their excitement levels for the match. And King, man. And through the whole show, look, sometimes it's just commentary. It's just King's stupid jokes or weird references.
Speaking of, those never changed in quality. Just so anyone's aware, they're the same now as they were in 1996.
He had a couple of real good ones, though.
He has a couple of real good ones now.
But just his investment and Vince's investment and their passion. And you look at these men, and I mean, like...
Alright, so when Michael Cole talks, you can kind of hear how dead inside he is.
Yeah. Which I understand Vince made him that way. He had to hollow him out to get a good puppet.
Yeah, he had to hollow him out so he could squeeze himself inside and work him like a marionette. He wears a
like
brand
a Muppet.
He wears a brand new Michael Cole suit every week to the ring. I understand that. But I like these dudes are just they're so into it that they make you more into it thereby.
Oh yeah, 110%. It's just that's how commentary works. It's supposed to hype you, not be three chuckle fucks sharing stories about, whatever.
What John Cena's fucking doing this weekend, or in the 1930s, this used to all be everwood trees as far as the eye could see.
And I put an oil plant in it. It's a classic rib.
Classic rib.
But yeah, I mean, pause and look at these men's faces. Or just when it comes up, there's enough time to watch them. Look at these guys. And know that they know this is all pretendski. They are in on it, and yet they are still acting their hearts out.
Fun fact, actually, JR prefers to call every match he possibly can blind. He wants to know nothing.
That's a great way to do it, dude.
He'll tell wrestlers, if there's something you want me to pay special attention to, if there's something you want me to sell, like a gimmick you want me to sell, or a storyline that you really want me to highlight, let me know. I'll do what I can for you. Otherwise, he calls the actual match blind. Just moment to moment, bell to bell, as he does it. Even now for New Japan, because he's He's one of New Japan's American announcers. They actually post-record the American commentary. Yeah, he watches it blind. He's doing the commentary as it's happening in front of him.
Good.
And he says he literally can't do it any other way.
I don't know that I'd want to.
Just because he says he'll end up like leading himself and predisposing himself to saying certain things, and he just doesn't. He wants to call it blind, and I think that helps his level of commitment. And I don't know how much of this was blind, how much was predisposed for these two guys, but I mean they were working their asses off, man. But now that we spent enough time blowing smoke up Vince's ass,
yeah, just for the record, anybody just joining us. We feel like Vince is pretty out of touch with the product right now and is a large part of the problem backstage, correct?
I don't feel that way as much as the internet does. I think there's actually a lot of factors involved.
I would agree. I think it's a case of too many cooks as well.
I think it's much more that than the first thing. I think Vince probably is still an excellent mind for the business. He still knows how to get a reaction out of people, and he still does that very well. But I feel like he's at the same time too controlling over the wrestlers and not controlling enough over the bookers and writers. He gives the writers too much free reign and the wrestlers not nearly enough.
I could see that. I think it's overall part of his general stance that we have called a problem for a decade at least now, that the WWE acts too much like a company and not a wrestling promotion.
Yeah, I mean, and also he does take over like direct control of shows and stuff and then he does it and then he doesn't do it. If you're gonna book the territory, book it, Vince.
Yeah.
Please do not let someone else book it and then go insert your ideas later, because that creates that too many cooks in the kitchen effect. If you're gonna book. If you're not, fuck off.
But that was just a clarifying statement. We are back in the day where, regardless of what you think is going on now, what was going on then was Vince was in charge and he was running things like a beautiful ghost ship in the night.
He was about a few months out from striking the biggest fucking gold vein in the history of pro wrestling, and by God, if he didn't capitalize.
But this match, I had no clue what happened in this match, and then Kevin Nash went out of the ring and he found Mad Dog Vachon,
who they'd set up way earlier in the night.
I think it was just before the main event, actually.
But like early enough that it was an entirely separate thing in my head.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 20 minutes before.
It was that thing where they point out a celebrity in the crowd, and this was an old wrestler who they said his career was cut short by a automobile accident.
Yeah.
They didn't go into any details. So when he goes to attack Mad Dog Vachon, like Diesel goes out to attack him for seemingly no reason. I was like, why? You're not busy beating up Shawn Michaels. And then it became clear. So clear, listener.
He knocked him down, and he took his leg. He took his fake leg, and he brought that fake leg back into the ring with him. And he tried to beat Shawn Michaels with another man's leg.
And he failed because Shawn Michaels hit him right in the Nornstones. And then Shawn Michaels beat him with another man's leg.
He super kicked him with someone else's foot.
And then super kicked him with his own foot. And then won the match. It was the best goddamn thing. And kudos to Mad Dog, because that is a fucking sport right there.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, as I said then, the Vachons are old school. And they know where their loyalties lie. So that was really cool. I want to try to keep this brief because we're at length, so we can go anytime we want. But I feel like it needs mentioned because it was a thread line while we were talking.
Do your shit, man. I ain't giving you the go home cue yet.
All
go.
right. So you mentioned that a recent match, which I'm sure all of you
Get
know
your shit
about,
in.
got 6.25 stars. Was it
6 and a fucking quarter?
Now you know what? It might
The
have been
best wrestling match ever in the history of time by an entire 1.25 stars.
beyond the 5-star scale that is.
It is out of 5, just so we're clear.
Now, I haven't seen the match. I'm not going to pretend like I can rate it. I don't know much about either of the performers, so like I'm not making a judgment call there. However, what I will make a judgment call on is if you are going to break the end of your score chart for a match, something amazing, never before done, had better fucking happen.
If you're gonna break the end of your score chart that you've had for like fucking forever, essentially,
Sure.
And this is the time you do it, they'd better have fucking fired bazookas at each other. And I don't mean gimmicked bazookas. Fucking Okada had better have survived an actual missile strike to the face. He better have kicked out at 2 from that shit.
One of them needed to have revealed that they were actually an energy vampire and begun siphoning the soul out of their opponent, visually that you could see.
And then their opponent reveals that they were secretly immune to it because they are the energy vampire's own descendant from the far future, traveling back in time to defeat them and thus close the time loop.
But I mean, like, this needs to actually happen in real life, and
Not just the storyline. Like, I need to see the time. I need to see the wormhole open before me.
Yeah. So, like that kind of shit is what needs to happen to have a
Just
6.
look. A really good high spot, like the best false finishes and good match psychology is not enough to get you 1.25 stars more than every other fucking wrestling match that's ever happened.
Unless you want to change your scale. Like, if it were me and I was like 5, I can't express, I would have gone back through my entire archive. I would have re-rated everything on a 10-star scale so that I could put this match where it belonged ahead of whatever my higher matches were. If that's the way you gonna do it. If you're gonna break your scale, you best be watching Reality Break, son. You best be watching some shit that has never done happen before. And oh my god, I'm sure a man has been beaten with another man's leg before. But I hadn't seen it in a professional wrestling ring until this evening. That's some 6.25 star mentality shit right there, to go out and beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
Yeah, right there. And just to confirm that I wasn't wrong, because maybe he'd done it way before. No, that is his first ever 6-star rating for anything.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
And like I said, it might have been a fucking fantastic match. But, dude, your scale exists for... Respect your scale and respect yourself and the sport by not... I want to use the term selling out here, but I would be...
By
I wouldn't
not
be
chasing
surprised.
a headline.
Yeah, by not chasing a headline, by not going, oh, what? Oh, I'm going to get more clicks because I rated a 6.25 star match, or whatever the fuck. Even if you're just trying to drum up support for another federation.
Honestly, I don't care if you think that was genuinely the best wrestling match in your long, illustrious, well-respected by everyone in the industry career. Because he is, by everyone in the wrestling industry, by insiders everywhere, respected as a very high authority on the quality of wrestling matches.
Look, I might not be a fan on everything he says, but I also respect him.
I do too, but I don't care if that was legitimately your favorite and what you think is the single best wrestling match in the history of time. Take a look at a 2-star match, now take a look at a 3-star match, now take a look at a 2 and a 3.25 match on your own scale. If you can tell me that that match was so much better than every other 5-star match you've ever rated, that it deserved to have the same difference in score as the difference between a 3.25 star match on your scale and a 2 on your scale, I have to call the validity of that opinion into question. You don't really believe that.
Anyway, I think we need to focus on the fact that one man hit another man with another man's leg. I don't think I can say it enough, even though you might disagree, listener. If you disagree, write it in the comments. Or come find me and hit me with somebody else's leg.
Yeah, that way he can really get the experience.
Yeah, then
that way he can know.
I would value that. When I was a kid, I used to hit myself in the head with the steel chair to know what it was like. Might explain a lot about me today.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore!